going live. This meeting is being live streamed.
5 shouts out for the engineer.
So right this moment, we are live on YouTube.
I'm sharing my post.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to, I'll go ahead and share this now to Facebook. Admit. KN, we are live on YouTube. Yes.
How's my sound?
Your sound is perfect.
How's my lighting?
Your lighting is perfect. Hold on,
Okay.
I'm sharing right now, and let's see who my friends are while I'm sharing. There we go.
Are we going to be doing anything on our phone that we need to be like keep our phone accessible?
Wherever you have the flow of the show.
Okay, I need the flow of the show available.
So we need to be on. Thank you for that, because I didn't think to ask.
Where is the flow of the show located?
YouTube, right?
Nope. In our Google.
The Google Doc?
Yes.
Is that in the email or is that?
That's it. Drop. It's
Got it. Got it. I got it. I got it. Oh shit! And mine said, "Oh, let's see who my friends are." It said the folder is empty.
Right this second.
Hold on. If it says it's empty, no, that's the wrong thing. Hold on.
It says it's empty.
Well, that's okay. I could pretty much get us there, right?
Give me a thought I had turned that off. Where is my charger cord? Ray, you may have to have us this time because I don't see my charger cord at all.
Are we ready?
I am. I mean,
Come on, girl, sock it to me.
as ready as I'm gonna be.
Let us begin. Good evening, guys. Right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you, new hosts. Thank you, new listeners. Thank you, old listeners. Thank you, viewers, if you have tuned into us for the past couple of minutes on either YouTube or on Facebook Live or wherever it is that we are streaming, right? If you could tell from the little bit of moving around before, right? We are brand new to this.
Okay.
Very
We
good.
are brand new to this
We are
in
brand new.
a lot of areas, right? So If you don't know what you tuned into, you have tuned into, as what it says up there, Let's See Who My Friends Are. This is an online talk show, and it's also where we are recording our podcast. For the people who kind of know what Let's See Who My Friends Are is, right? This is a show where we get together, and like I say, we love to learn about you and share you with the world, right? So
Yep.
we are back here after about a good year of hiatus. I'm back here to hang out with you guys and to do what we do on Let's See Who My Friends Are, which is connect deeply, which is make friends, right? And make friends that last, because we get an opportunity to like dig deep into them as soon as we meet them. So let's get started a little bit. For the people who don't know the backstory of Let's See Who My Friends Are, and I don't even think my hosts are really privy to the story. Probably in like 2016 or so, I just started putting some questions on Facebook or any place, because I really am not big into social media like that if we can't connect deeply. So I would put some questions out there just to see how people think. No right or wrong, just what has been your experience. And then I'd been doing that for a while, and in my office I had a microphone, right? And for no reason, I manifested the opportunity with WRUU in Savannah to do a radio show where I would just kind of put out those questions and have people come in and talk about themselves and talk about that, right? So we took a hiatus just after the pandemic. We went strong during the pandemic, right? We learned how to do all of the Zoom and sharing and all of that stuff. Well, it was a class, right? In reality, in one.
Amen.
Right?
It was a class in life.
Right? So we made it work. And then, what I found happened to me right after the pandemic and trying to stay up, and high functioning is that right afterwards, it was like down, 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 and realized you were doing too much. So this was one of the things that, sadly, I put on the shelf and say, when I can give my best to it, I'll come back to it. So, with that little bit of backstory, I want to say thank you to WRUU. I want to say thank you to my past hosts, right? GQ Smooth, he is out there. Kareem is out there. Ayana is out there. I miss you guys in the sense that, this was an opportunity for me to connect. And, I always say I'm using y'all, right? In the sense that, at the end of the week, you want an opportunity to just take a breath and talk with your friends, right? But let's get right into it. We have new hosts. We have, in the future, new guests. We have new topics, new questions, and new things to discuss, right? So if you're hanging out with us, we can't see you because we're not that advanced to where we got everything hooked up and the comments and the questions. We'll
Not
get
yet.
right, not quite yet, right?
Watch us grow. Watch us grow.
Really?
Absolutely. But as soon as we are at that place, we will absolutely love to include you in the conversation. Have you take up one of these boxes on the screen and talk with us so we can share you with the world. But tonight, what I definitely wanted to do was to come on here and talk with my new co-hosts, right? And you get to know them. So we're going to do like some brief introductions. I'll start off for the people who don't know me, who is this chick, right? My name is Raye Carr. I go by the Fit Hypnotist when I'm sitting here doing my radio, right? That's my radio name, the Fit Hypnotist. I say I'm the one and only. If you find another one claiming to be the Fit Hypnotist, they're a photocopy, right?
All right.
What I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist here in Savannah. And what I help people to do is to just be connected with themselves, connected with their mind, see how their mind is stopping them from reaching the goals goals that they have, seeing that pattern that they have between their thoughts, their emotions, and the behaviors, and help them to, streamline that and make that the most positive to achieve their goals. So for the past 7 years, that's what I've been doing. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to share some of my experiences with you to help you grow. Um, the first person I want to introduce is Miss Kayanne, Miss Kayanne Como. She is a sister, right? And she's a sister. I say that because it's funny how we met. On a retreat, she said, "You, do you have a problem sleeping next to a woman?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, you're with me." I'm like, "Okay," right? And it's been that ever since. So, and I appreciate you coming along on this journey with me.
I'm grateful.
But please introduce yourself, to the people who don't know you, and again to the people who do.
Thank you so much. Peace and divine abundance all. Raye and Beverly, I am so grateful and honored to go on this new journey, familiar to some, brand new to others, with you both. Where do I begin? Meeting you originally, I felt your spirit, I felt your energy, I felt your light, and that resonated with me. I knew that I would be safe with you. And from that moment on, I know I was a bit abrasive in my approach to friendship, but when you know, you know. And I have not been wrong about you, not one bit. We've been sleeping together ever since. So, I'm deeply grateful. You know what I mean? Well, they might not, but I mean that in the most beautiful sisterhood as possible. And that's why when I was approached with this opportunity to share who I am and what I do with your audience as we widen ours collectively, I knew this was the right thing to do. So, as Raye said, my name is Kayanne. I am a wellness activator. I help you activate your wellness in ways from your mind to your body to your energy to your meals and what you ingest every day, all holistically. By trade, I am a copywriter and also a certified yoga instructor and meditation specialist. Future yoga therapist. I will be combining the historical benefits of yoga with the much needed therapy that a lot of our people may not know how to approach. I will create a space for those two lives to merge to help people heal, thrive, and be their best selves. So I'm excited to meet new friends, make new friends, and to dive deeper into the friendships that we've already developed here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The next person who is also a co-host is Miss Beverly Brown, right? And
Yes.
I met Beverly at a conference for hypnotherapists.
That's
And
right.
it was a similar meeting in that Beverly came over and she was like, "Oh, we need to stick together," right? We were probably two out of maybe 5 or 6 African American hypnotherapists at this conference that took over the entire hotel.
Yes, they
And
did. And it was amazing.
it was amazing.
It was
And
amazing.
it was great because Beverly came over and she was like, "Hey, let's hang out." Right? And I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's hang out." Right? And a friendship that continued on, that went past that event, because we intentionally decided to, let that bond move past that one sitting, and and support each other through this endeavor. So I'm happy to share this journey with you, Beverly.
Yes.
So please introduce yourself and then let's get deep. Let's start talking about some stuff.
Well, I'm Beverly Brown. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm a certified hypnotherapist in Florida. I live in Panama City, Florida. And I help women who suffer from anxiety, depression, and trauma break free and take their lives back. And women who work with me, because I am a certified rapid resolution therapist and a hypnotist, these women, they get immediate results. Like that's one of the things that I know that I do. When you come into my office, you get immediate results. You have a shorter recovery time and you have long lasting outcomes.
All
So my
right.
job is just to help you get back to who you are, to figure out what's stopping you from living the way that you want to live, and to help you develop a roadmap back.
All right.
Awesome.
Oh, wait. I found a quote today and I want to share it with you guys.
Oh, yes.
And
love a
I
quote.
chose, I love quotes, but this one is from Toni Morrison. It's from the book, Beloved. And she was talking about friendship. And this is how I feel about friendship. The quote says, "She is a friend of my mind. She gathers me. Man, the pieces that I have, she gathers them and gives them back to me in all the right order."
Wow.
I know when I saw that, I said, oh,
You
I
have
gotta say
to
that.
put that in the chat or send a
Yes.
picture to the group.
Okay, I will put
love
that in the chat. But isn't that a beautiful way to
It
start a
is.
conversation about sisterhood and friendships and what we need, especially right now, because we are all isolated and disconnected, and the world is opening back up, but our friendship muscle is
Weak.
not. Yes,
And the
You
way we
know,
convene is different. So even
absolutely.
if we had the friendship thing down to a T prior to, the world, everything is different now. Even
Absolutely.
we're all different. So wow, that was so
that was definitely one of the
Oh.
best scriptures I've heard about friendship.
That was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, you know, it was Toni Morrison.
It's Toni Morrison, okay? Let's give praise to Toni Morrison just because, okay? When you said it was from the book Beloved, I already knew it was about to be good, okay?
You know, did you
I
read
already knew.
it was so deep. I read it from the front cover to the middle. Then I said, okay, I'm not old enough for this. So I read it from the back. I thought maybe if I read it from the end to the beginning.
Come on. That touched me because when I met Raye, or even I think about any friendships, I know the condition I was in when I met Raye, and I know the condition of my friendships and sisterhood, and I know that what Raye has given back to me, that piece of brokenness that I may have come with in terms of my relationships with women, Raye gave that back to me as a bouquet of blossoming exotic flowers. Right.
God.
So the reason that resonated with me was because I came as I am, full, broken, confused, all the beautiful things that make me me. And Raye was just like, okay. You know, and I'm like, hey.
But those of us who have those wins, I got to give a shout out. I have a friend, her name is Charlotte Barnes. And when I say her name, the song, like it's simultaneously, the song says, "Thank you for letting me be myself again." Yes. And that's who she was. She was a sister and a teacher. There were things that I grew up very Pentecostal, like really Pentecostal.
Okay.
And there were conversations I could not have. And she gave me a space to talk about these things that I had never had
no words for.
or permission. And I remember we were driving in the car one day, and she just started talking, and I was sliding down into the floor of the car saying, God, it's not me, it's her. It's not me, God, it's her. And we stayed friends for a long time, and we're still friends. But as all friendships do, it shifted.
Absolutely.
But she is still that girl. When I think about becoming who I am, it's her. She gave me an open space and said, come on in here and stretch your wings out. let me show you what you look like.
That's beautiful.
Part of the reason why, I wanted to do this again, because every time I talk to Kayanne, every time I talk to Beverly, it starts off as a, hey girl, what you doing, right? It starts off as a, what you been up to? And in that conversation, something unfolds and something beautiful happens, right? Something happens in the sense of we learn so much about
Amen.
ourselves.
Now that is true.
Right? And we learn a new way to look at the world. We see whatever it is that we have been dealing with. At least that's what you ladies give to me, a different perspective and a different way to handle these things. And quite often I am in a place where I'm thinking, man, why didn't we record this conversation?
You say that a lot. Now you do. You do.
Right? So that's why I'm grateful for this space. Another thing that I'm really grateful for in our friendships is that I'm allowed to just be myself, right? I'm allowed to bring my experiences. I tell people every day that their personality or their personal reality is made up of the things they do, how they feel, and what they think. But then another part of that is the experience, right? Because the experiences that they had in their life creates their thought process or their beliefs, right? And then beliefs cause some feelings and some emotions, and then those emotions cause, some behaviors, and you're all of that.
So all of it.
We carry all that. We carry that.
Even deeper, we are that.
Exactly. So, and in these days, I feel like a lot of people are trying to negate, things in their past rather than honor them, right? Or try to hide things in their past rather than honor it, because it is a part of who you are. We are some of our experiences, and those experiences definitely shape us and mold us into who we are today, right? So we get an opportunity here to hear about people's experiences, because their experiences give us their lenses, give us their perspective, and that matters, right?
It matters a great deal.
Absolutely matters. Right?
Yeah, it's the difference between choosing left and choosing right. And if you're not sharing the experience, then her decision seems random and out of control.
Absolutely.
Because and you know what's even more interesting about this, Raye? As a hypnotist, you understand sometimes she's not sharing her experience. She's been through something, she's making decisions, but she's unaware that the decision she's making is related to what happened in the 3rd grade.
Absolutely.
Even though she's still responding to it.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
So that brings us, okay, so, as soon as we have the engineer / camera person,
Come on, Miss Engineer. It's all right to grow. It's all right to grow.
Right. So you should be seeing on your screen there, our question for the night, right?
Okay.
So we have, as far as the host, we have some we have some more questions other than the one that is put out for the discussion question. But I'll read the discussion question because when we're on the podcast, you can't see it, you gotta hear it, right?
Okay.
uh, so the discussion question that we're going to be discussing, or what we're going to be discussing tonight, it says, did you have an experience in your childhood that changed the course of your life, right? One that shaped who you are today. And we wanted to talk about that and, give to give you guys, to give everyone. I'm working on my pronouns, right?
Okay.
To give everyone the opportunity to get a little bit of insight into us, right? Into our experiences that cause the way that we think and the way that we feel and the things that we currently do. Um, in my whole time doing, and I'm glad you brought up, Beverly, sometimes you're not sharing, the person isn't sharing their experience, whether, intentionally by withholding their story
Yes.
or not seeing the connection of their story to what they're currently experiencing,
Right.
right? And the whole time I was doing the show, um, I spend a lot of time, and even my co-hosts, they would be like, "Yeah, you asking us these questions, you're not telling us about you," right? And it during the show, it was always like a ha ha ha, but afterwards, and you kind of look back, it's like, yeah, we did spend a lot of time on the air, and a lot of people don't really know me, right? So, why I really wanted to do it in this way is because I wanted my hosts, my co-hosts, to know me and to know my perspective. And I want to know your perspective as well. And the story I chose to share is like my earliest memory of something that changed the entire trajectory of my life, right? I was born in Guyana, South America, and that's where I grew up till I was about 10 years old. And about 10 years old in Guyana, you are already graduating, going to high school, right? The
Wow.
way that it works is that academically you do tests, and your test scores place you either, in high schools that are ranked either top, one, two, three. And I remember I had finished my exams, right? And I finished my exam to go into the second best high school in Guyana, the number two high school, and I was excited. And that summer, my dad said, "Oh, we're going to the States. We're going to go to the United States." And we're like, we're here for the summer, right? We're going on an extended vacation. If you are living in, in a third world country, coming to the United States for vacation is like, you have made it, right?
Look, if you live on the east side of some parts of America, coming to the United States is
You
we
have
have
made
made it.
it, right? So we packed up for what we thought was going to be a summer vacation. And then we came to the States. We went to New York and we stayed for a little bit. And now consider the experience from a 10-year-old that is not privy to what the adults and the decisions that are being made, right? Then we were in an apartment for a little while, and then we were in a house. And, after the summer was over, we were like realizing that we're not here for just the summer, right? We are here for probably whenever, right? Because
Forever. Yeah.
there was no box put around that. And then we were enrolled in school. I was enrolled in sixth grade, here in the States, enrolled in the sixth grade. and started middle school, and just kind of went from living in a third world country to now living in the United States, South Florida, in a house, right? A house that never had any furniture in it. It was just a house. All we knew is that my dad bought a house and put us in it. And then he left and he went back to Guyana. And then my mom was there, but bills needed to be paid. And, after a while, the money that was being sent to us just kind of stopped. So now I didn't say it was myself, my brother, and my sister. So my mom and 3 kids coming from a different country, put in a house, and, she didn't even have like verifiable education, right? To say, well, I used to be a XYZ in Guyana, she didn't know how to drive, right? In South Florida. And she had 3 kids that she had to take care of. So, in that time, I mean, she did what any mother would do, find jobs and all of those things. And I have to say this, we never lived in any place that we knew was unsafe, right? We never lived or went for anything that we knew that we were lacking things. However, when you look back on the situation, right, you look back on what happened. And as an adult, I can say that at 10 years old, my father brought his family and left them in another country and went back home. Now, I know that that is something that changed my life completely, right? Because growing up in the United States and growing up in Guyana are 2 totally different realities.
Right.
I know that many positive things have come out of that, right? But I also know that for perhaps 30 years, or maybe 25 years of my life, I lived in that space, right? Of a 10-year-old that was just waiting for life to happen.
I understand.
Waiting
I
for
understand.
somebody to pluck me out of a situation. It wasn't until like I started my journey of healing myself, right, that I realized how negative of a situation that was.
Yeah. How threatening. That was really frightening.
Jolting.
Right.
The word I hear, jolting. That felt jolting to me.
Yes, that's a good word, KM. That's a very good word for this.
Right. So I know, there's the obvious things, right? You came to the States, you've been given more opportunities, more chances for to succeed and all of those things. But if you think about the experience that started it, right? And it wasn't pleasant, right? To come from one reality to a completely different culture, everything was completely different. And then to be said, okay, and then to say, now swim, right? In South Florida, I even to this day, I tell my kids, it's like, I never really knew how dangerous South Florida was until I was grown and left. Because, some of the things where I was a student or someone that would sit there and study and academically, I wanted to excel and wanted to succeed. When I came to the States, all of that went out the window, right? I was skipping school from 7th grade.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah.
I was skipping school from 7th grade. I was all over South Florida. I was all over Miami.
It's traumatized.
I was in so many situations between the age of 11 years old and 17 years old. One, being ignorant of what's going on around me, right? And two, just being in a state of, well, what do I do now, right? There's no direction, there's no instructions, there's really just surviving, really just making sure that you're good and your younger sister and brother are good,
Yeah. And
right?
good is just breathing and safe.
Exactly.
Everybody's breathing, everybody's safe.
Because mom, my mom, she took jobs at night, right? Leaving 3 children at home, throughout the night while she went to work in order to pay bills. Sometimes we didn't see her for days because by the time she comes in, we're at school. And by the time we come in, she's gone to another job, right? That eventually, led my mom to early onset Alzheimer's. That's stress, that pressure on her,
Yes.
and
My goodness, yeah. I hear you, girl.
right. So, a lot of times people see, and this is the main reason for this. You see somebody, you see an exterior, you see what they have projected outwards in order to still show up in this world, right? And you there's no understanding of why it is this way now.
Mhm.
So I know one thing in particular where I started to see where that move alone, not all the other implications and all the other branches of the story, just the move and how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I am, 30 plus years old, and I'm moving to my second husband, right? We're getting a place together. And he doesn't have it all together. Like I said, I was always in that space of that 10-year-old just waiting for somebody to make it right. Somebody has the answer. And he couldn't get it together. He couldn't find the place. He couldn't, have the order, the lease and the talking to the people and all of those things. And I had a full-on panic attack. And I had no idea why it is I'm here panicking. I made good money, right? At the time I was working, it wasn't a physical, oh, we don't have these things. It was just the lack of preparation, the lack of communication. It felt like once again I was going to be snatched up and taken someplace that I didn't know where that was or didn't know what that was going to be. And I've lost it, completely lost it, right? And never, until I started doing some work on myself, couldn't put this situation and this situation and see how they were the exact same situation to me and my mind and my emotions and my behaviors and how that rippled through my body, right? Um, in realizing some of those connections from my childhood, from my experiences, and how those experiences caused me to think about the world, how those experiences caused me to think about people in the world, right? How these experiences caused me to think about myself, positively or negatively, right? That it wasn't until I started really looking deeply into those things that I could put those things together. And because I'm able to put those things together within myself, that has led me to helping people to look at some of their past experiences and how their experiences are stopping them from living the life that they want to live, right? So a huge thing that I tell people is that there is a good or a positive in every experience. And, we have to find the positive in the experience. The negative
Yes.
will slap you in the face, it'll kick you in the back, it'll trip. The negative will show up, it will make itself known.
There it is.
But we have to find the positive in that experience. And, I can say definitely that one positive in that experience is that it started, a journey of me doing this. Because I used to say, up until I was up until I started doing hypnotherapy, I would say, I don't want to be anything when I grow up, right? And I didn't know how negative that was. I thought it was just a joke or something that I could just, oh, that's just something I could just say that sounds funny and it seems cool. But it was definitely because I had no idea of what I could be when I grew up. Right. So that definitely catapulted that. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and I wanted you to know that about me and to know, to know that small part about me. So please share and get the spotlight off of me, child, because I want
Go ahead, Kayanne, do your thing. Do your thing.
So Kayanne, yes, please share with us, something that's happened in your childhood that, probably, possibly did change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to hold space with you and tell you that I'm hugging your 10-year-old self, and I would have been her best friend too.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was around the time that my life took a change that I'm still on that same path. I was in second grade, so around 9 years old as well. And I am my mother's only child. And at the time I was raised as an only child. I didn't know that I had other siblings, and I didn't have any other siblings from my father at the time. So technically I'm an only child. I'm happy. My dad is my best friend. My mother took the role more so as the what do you call that, authoritative person, like
he kept stuff in line.
Yeah, she was the ruler, and then he and I were the pals. So we had a bond that I've cherished my entire life. So at 9, my father's addiction erupted and he burned our house down. I was in Catholic school at the time. Every morning, my mother gets me dressed, drops me off to my grandparents. My bus picks me up from my grandparents, takes me to school, brings me back. Mom picks me up, brings me home. Like, we have a system. And this particular day, they were fighting in the morning, and somehow he wanted to keep me with him as opposed to her taking me on our normal journey. And this fight got so nasty that by the time it was time for me to get picked up from school, I was told, your house is burned down. You don't have anywhere to go. You have nothing but the uniform and play clothes in your backpack.
They told you that?
Yeah, they told me at school, completely insensitive, but they pulled me to the side and was like, we'll try to get you some clothes. We'll give you another uniform. Culturally, they didn't know how to approach addiction, a fire, problems.
Right.
It was just like blurted it all out to a 9-year-old after lunch, and was like, someone's gonna come pick you up, wait in the office. So I'm waiting in the office, and I somehow thought my dad would show up, but I still didn't grasp that he was the arsonist behind this. And shortly thereafter, enough adult conversations floating around me, I heard that his addiction had caused my home to burn down. He was using in the house and passed out in his his artifacts caught on fire. The other version of that story is he admittedly set the house on fire, angry with my mother, but he was high and deranged. And either way it goes, he suffered consequences due to that. And my family has been broken up since that ever since. And that day, something shifted in me. I was at the thrift store. It's about 8 o'clock at night right now. And I told my mother, I said, where is my dad? You know, I hadn't seen him all day. Obviously, he got picked up. So I'm like, where's my dad? And they're like, he's not coming home for a while. And I said, well, wherever he's at, I want to go. I want to live with them. And I don't care if it's in a tent. I was 9 and I made that choice. I was 9 when I told him I would go to every Narcotics Anonymous meeting with him. I was 9 when I began writing him letters in jail. I was 9 when I began to tell him, I will teach you to read. I will teach you to be a better person. I will make you better. And I don't know to this day why I chose to take that armor. But my mother never visited him in jail. My mother didn't write, and they ended up divorcing. To this day, my father ended up being clean for 25 years, 20 some odd years. And in fall of 2018, my father relapsed. Consequently, he was living with me at the time that he relapsed. And consequently, his mental health took a toll so deeply on him that he attempted suicide in a way that has impaired him for the rest of his life. In addition to him having to be in custody with the state. So drugs, attachment, a die-hard determination to ride out, okay? No matter what, no matter how ugly. Everybody jumped ship. His own mother, sisters, brothers, family. Nobody supported him throughout my 41 years of life the way I have. No wife. He's had 3 wives, including my mother, childhood sweethearts. They were 12 and 15. Her virgin boyfriend. They married each other. Like, this was her life. This was her love, her life partner. And I ended up being his solid friend, his solid confidant, his solid comrade on this thing called life. It taught me some very toxic ways of loving men. Some real die-hard personality traits that they didn't deserve. Today, I question if my father even deserved that die-hard, no matter what, no matter how hard, no matter how painful, friendship. He wasn't parenting me. I was his friend. I had to be fragile, and I had to treat him like he was fragile my whole life. Never addressed him with problems, never burdened him, never gave him drama. As a kid, I knew that if I was bad, he would relapse. So I was never bad. As a kid, I learned my mother was depressed over this, situation with her first love. So I was never bad. I was a good girl. Didn't talk back, didn't do bad things, didn't break curfew, didn't go anywhere. Like, up until about 17 years old, my mother can't tell you that I had any behavior issues. I was a good girl because my father could not protect me. I had to be good for him. And my mother couldn't take any more problems. I had to be good for her. So at 9 years old, I made some conclusions. I had to be mature. I had to be stable. I had to be solid. I had to be a down ass, hood ass, riding out ass girl, because that's what loyalty is. That's what loyalty does. And I'm still learning my way out of that loyalty. I'm still learning the boundaries of when this is your shit and versus when it's my shit.
Not my job.
And I every decision I make now, I look back at that 9-year-old girl.
Sure.
And I say, no, choose to play instead. Choose to go color instead. Choose to have imaginary friends, go outside and get dirty, go play with your toys and your dolls. This is adult stuff. This is not for you. Not knowing that boundary and being allowed to take on all of that, nobody stopped me. Nobody said, hey, I ain't heard you laugh. I haven't heard you play. I haven't heard you get dirty. I haven't heard you talk about other children. Where are your friends? Nobody thought to say, this kid is going to NA meetings. This kid is writing letters to jails. This kid is going to jails on weekends as opposed to going to Girl Scout meetings. This kid is not being a kid. Because I guess the burden was heavy for everybody else. I'm not sure. But I think about her a lot today, because this time when he relapsed, and this time when my life went into a spiral with him, I said, I won't go with you this time. This time, I'm not going with you to jail. This time, I am not going with you to rehab. This time, I'm not going with you to therapy. This time, I'm not going with you down this road. I'm not going with you. And that is the hardest separation. I've never been married. I don't know what it feels like to be divorced. I don't know what it feels like to lose a parent in absolute death. But I've lost my best friend. I've lost my pal in life. And I've lost my parental unit in the way that, I've known him. He is incapable of being and doing and showing up in a way we all planned, right? So this separation has required me to draw boundaries that I've never had before. It's required me to live my life at a certain standard that I've never required before. And I don't mean how I live, it means how I allow myself to be treated, how I show up in love, how I show up in friendships. It's not one-sided, and I will not carry your burden to show you that I love you and to prove my loyalty. Those are not required. My sacrifice does not say, here's why I deserve your friendship and your love. That's not the requirement anymore. I won't lay down my life and my love and my peace to keep you. I'll let you go instead. And that is the lesson that I help people with, because we have toxic attachments. And sometimes those toxic attachments are family. Sometimes it's addiction. Sometimes it's our own ways. But I am my biggest self-study. I am my biggest success story, because I learned what it feels like to be attached at the hip to a thing. Through the jungle, through hell and back again twice. And to feel what that freedom looks like and feels like and operates like today is a new world.
Amen.
I learn myself every day, and learning to live with that pain every day, learning to live with that separation every day, and that power. It takes power to know what's not yours and what is. It takes power to know that. So through my tears, I'm grateful today that I operate in that power, and that power alone. I get to decide my burdens. I get to decide the journey, and I get to decide my level of loyalty. It's okay if I leave. It's okay if I stop. It's okay if I say no. Yes. It's okay. And I still color. I color today. I write, I journal, I love on that little 9-year-old very often. I love on her, and I'm still healing her actively. So there's that.
It's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
a beautiful story.
I hold the space with you. And I know my 10-year-old and your 9-year-old, you'd have been playing. I would have got you out, got you in some trouble. Because
you'd have been in Florida acting up.
I was the exact opposite. I'd have been sneaking you out the house, girl. We'd have been in Miami chilling on the beach, baby.
At 9, John, thank you.
Absolutely. I can listen. We have nothing but time to tell these stories, and I can tell you
Amen.
it's okay. Um, so yes, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and being so open and so raw with, emotions as well. And thank you.
Thank
Um,
you for sharing space with me.
sure.
Amen.
Beverly, um, we would love to hear about, an experience in your life, in your childhood that shaped who you are today, and how that, has rippled through into who you are and what you do and how you show up.
I was trying to think of the story to tell, and I have to tell the story that I know changed the trajectory of my life.
For sure.
I am the first generation of Martin Luther King's dream. I'm the first part. Into school we went to, we were part of that change. And I may not exactly be the first generation, but I always give myself that credit. And I had a teacher, her name was Andrea Levinson. She was a young white teacher. And I remember being in the second grade and could not pass a spelling test. Like literally, no time did I pass a spelling test. And Miss Levinson would go by my desk and she would give me my fail paper and she'd say, if you pass it next week, I'll give you 2 stickers. She put a different test on my desk and say, you sure can't read. And everything she said to me about my education, she snuck me away from lunch. She kept me in from the other kids. I was bullied really, really bad at that time in my life. And she would protect me and sneak me across the street to the cafe and we would have lunch together. She picked us up one time in a little sports car. I'll never forget that. This was before car seats. It was about 6 of us drove from Brooklyn, New York to Prospect Park. And we were all sitting on the back of the car. But she was that kind of a woman in my life. The value of that is all through my life, because of her, my joke used to be, when I get in hard times, I go to church and I take a class. Those were the 2 things that I did. And her support got me all the way through college. Like college was hard. Yeah. Math was impossible for me. When I say I no joke, spent 20 hours a week in the math lab.
Wow.
I was 44 and I worked my way through college as a CNA.
Oh, wow.
I would work 7 to 3 or 3 to 11 on Fridays, 7 to 11 on Saturdays, and 7 to 3 on Sundays. I was taking care of a woman in the nursing home, and she asked me what time it was. And I chuckled and said, just a minute. And then she said, real quick, what's the difference in your left and your right? And I laughed because I still didn't know. It was still a thought I had to think about. She said to me, you're dyslexic. I said, no, I'm not. She said, yes, you are. You just don't know it. Why that's so profound to me is because if I had met anybody else but this young teacher, my life would have flipped completely around. And it was her encouraging words and her loving me through my experiences. So whenever I got into a hard spot, I really did go to church, take a class. go to church or take a class. Now, my hard spots were different. But so this is how this manifests. Somebody said to me, you don't need another degree. You need to be in a relationship. I'm like, what?
Okay.
Somebody just snatched that credit card out your hand when you about to take another class.
Take another class. Take another class. And it was really interesting because in all that was going on in my life, while I didn't act out, I didn't misbehave, I followed all the rules, I still was not making connections. I was doing all the things that I needed to do, except for inviting people deeply into my life. You could come to a place where, as long as I knew you were going to follow the rules, as long as I knew you were going to be a good girl, as long as I knew you were going to press toward some kind of a goal, there was a space for you. But anything that made us bond, talk, any place where I had to take my clothes off, I'm like, oh no, sure, that's a little too close for me. And that thing went on in my life forever. I didn't even know it was happening. So there was no correcting it. There was no, and I think the day that I understood it is I realized I had just dropped some people. They just went away. Why'd you drop them? I don't have a clue. I just gave them up. And that point was a turning place for me. That was a place that I knew that I needed to be connected to people in a way that was beyond behavior. And that became important to me, that when I'm involved in your life, we real. It's real here. I got it. I know how you're acting, as my son said. I know you're acting like one of the Greek goddesses, because you know them girls was a mess. But we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. And even that had the side of not always knowing where the balance was. Like I have chapters. I have chapters of life. You know, I spent a large part of my life in a church that was a cult. And when I walked away from that, that was just like what the hell do I do now? Because everything that I had been a part of was false. I mean, and when I say I spent it. I remember being always not having money, always doing without. Oh, I remember one of my really dear friends one year, she brought me a pair of shoes. And I remember crying, saying, God, why are people buying me shoes? What has happened that I cannot take care of myself? But something in my mind just would not let me. And I, like you, Raye, could not put the pieces together. I shared with Raye, we were in Georgia about a month ago, and I have gotten lost all my life. Like everywhere when I worked out of my car, KN, my mileage would say lost. First time client's house, 60 minutes, lost.
Oh no.
just drove me crazy.
Okay.
Drove me crazy. And I had an experience in this particular trip where I met a friend. And the friend said, call me. Like brand new friendship. Nothing, just platonic, just getting to know you, getting to know all about you. And he said, call me on your way home. I drove around the community I was in for an hour. Finally, I called and said, I'm lost. I can't get out to this community. I can't even get out the community. What is wrong with me? And this man had skills and pulled me up and tracked me from where I was to my front door. Like he knew when I walked in my front door. Now, let me tell you why this is significant to me. When I got up after my nap that day, I woke up and remembered being lost in the second grade. I just completely abandoned the memory. And when I woke up from my nap, I remembered being lost and standing in front of the barbershop crying because I was in a neighborhood that I should not have been in. I don't even know how I got lost. My mom was picking me up from school every day, and I got lost. Oh my gosh. And did not remember it until this man rescued me.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's why I do what I do. I believe in the power of the mind and how our minds connect us to our stories. And until we change the ending, which is really hard because this stuff is not happening now. So it's not like you can go back to it and change it. So we have to find different ways to reconnect to our whole consciousness so that we're able to heal ourselves. That's what I help you heal from whatever is going on. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I know you're spending money a little way. Let's talk about it. We'll find it. I was talking with somebody this week and she said, I don't even have a reason. And da-da-da-da. Then she said, but I do remember, and there was that one thing she didn't have a reason for. Let's play with this. Because that's what I call the work that I do. I say, let's play with this.
Wow.
So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Powerful.
Thank you so much. We are going to move into, just giving some of our closing remarks. Beverly, I'm going to start with you. If you can just, talk about this experience tonight. And also in there, let people know how they can connect with you. And then afterwards, KN, you'll close, and then I'll end off the night.
Okay. So tonight this was great for me. It was really a sisterly sharing. It was a beautiful way to share with my sisters. And I find that there's gold when we come together. I tell people all the time, our sisters get us through our relationships.
Yes, they do.
If you're struggling in your relationship and you can't figure out what's going on, you need to be hanging out with your sister. And not even in a, sometimes when people hear that, they think that sisters are always demeaning. We're not. We're supportive. We're encouraging. We need our sisters, especially now.
Correct.
Call somebody. Have a cup of coffee. Have a cup of tea. Don't hang out there by yourself. If you're lonely, just say it. I'm lonely. I'm disappointed. I'm broken. Just own it and call somebody and tell them I'm lonely, I'm disappointed, I'm broken. And let us get you through it. You can check me out at on Facebook. I'm at Renew with Beverly. Well, I'm all over the web at Renew with Beverly. That's where I am. I'm Beverly Brown. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. And you can check me out at renewwithbeverly.com.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tonight was very fresh for me. I haven't talked about that childhood story and the connection to my today, probably in years, if ever in depth that way. So I'm grateful for this platform to do so. I'm grateful that the mind allows us to remember a childhood memory and we can pinpoint exactly where things went a different way. And we are able to use languages today to articulate our power, our pain, and the path to heal in various beautiful ways. So I'm grateful to be in the company of those who are actively finding themselves, actively listening to themselves, and actively healing others. So I know I am aligned in the right space. To reach me or work with me, you can email me at reachagoddess@gmail.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. My business is called A Goddess Wellness Co. And a goddess is not spelled traditionally. It's spelled AGODIS. Think of God is, okay? And that is the way I approach my work. God is light, love, power, us, okay? And that is what I represent. The beauty of healing. So I would love to hear from you all. My name is K-Ann Como on Facebook, and you've got my email, and I'll put my Instagram and everything in the comments. So if you want to keep in touch that way, but I'm grateful for this community, and I look forward to building with you all. Gratitude.
Well, ladies, I want to say thank you so much, right? Thank you for you being here and having this conversation with me. Thank you for insight, deeper insight about who you are and why it is that you show up the way that you do. Thank you for being so open and being so fresh, right? Right. This has been great for me. Quite often, I tend to be okay with being in the shadows somewhere. I'm okay with not sharing my experience, right? And then at some point, I'm not okay with that. You know, at some point over the past, I want to say over the past year or so, it's been like, I'm not okay with that.
I'm not okay with it. I understand you.
You know, with my experiences being
Muted.
away or right, muted, right?
Good word, Can.
And so this has been great for me. I'm looking forward to doing this more often. I'm looking forward to us having those conversations here together, but also in the public, you know, about those things that really affect us on a day-to-day basis. You know, those things that really pull us in one direction or another. So I'm grateful for this space. I thank you again for showing up and showing out, you know. If anyone out there would like to work with me, my name is Raye Carr. On Facebook, Raye Carr or Raye Carr Hypnotherapy. I'm that everywhere, right? Let's see who my friends are on Instagram.
Yes.
Like us on Facebook. Like us on YouTube.
And share.
And share the thing. You know what I mean? That's gonna help us to, you know, to build our platform. You guys know that Facebook and all of those things, they legitimize our businesses, you know. Yes. And also it gets our message to someone who needs to hear it.
Yes.
You know, there are people out there, what I've found, that there are people out there that believe, even though we all have our own unique stories, we're not alone in our experience.
In our stories. Amen. Oh.
Right? And friends, you know, they always say that the people that we bring into our lives, that gravitate towards us, they give us a reflection of ourselves. And that is our jobs here, is to reflect ourselves off of each other. And, you know, a lot of times when we're not sharing these experiences, we're not seeing the people, or we're not reaching the people that are our reflections. right? Because we have to show it first for it to bounce back to us, right? So we encourage you to get in touch with us. Click on the links that are all over these things, right? Send us an email on one of these email addresses, or inbox or something like that if you would like to join us and be in one of these boxes here and talk with us. We don't stress you out. We don't ask you too many questions. We ask you things that you know about yourself, right? And we just ask you to share that with us and share that in an intentional way, in a way to intentionally connect and merge our journeys, merge our stories, and kind of put them together and see how we fit on this whole globe of stories and lives and puzzle pieces. We have to fit someplace.
Yeah.
And right, I love the opportunity to do so. So like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, like us on Instagram. We're Let's See Who My Friends Are all across the board. Share our videos so that someone can, hear something in there that that resonates with them, that sends them on their own journey, right? Contact us if you have questions, concerns. I say, no, we don't want no violent complaints. Take those elsewhere. No, contact us if you have questions, concerns, comments, and or even just suggestions on how it is that we can bring topics and things to you that you want to hear.
That would resonate with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And until then, thank you so very much. We will
Thank you so much.
We're gonna log off from live, and then exhale, and then have our little discussion on the back end. See, this is why we need a cameraman and all of this stuff. So
tell me when you're not